28 starts at left guard. That's Peter Skoronski's stat line since being drafted by the Tennessee Titans in April 2023. It's also safe to say that Peter's 14 starts in 2024 overall have gone better than his 14 starts last season. Peter Skoronski speaks about that and more in this week's SeatGeek Sound with our own Amie Wells.
Peter, we're getting ready to take on the Indianapolis Colts for the second time this season. And that's very different than any other time when you're playing football where you see the same opponent 2 times in one season. Have you gotten used to that yet?
It's definitely a weird sensation. I feel like that doesn't really happen very much. Certainly not in college, and high school pretty unlikely too. So that's kind of part of the NFL is you get those teams twice. And thankfully we had a nice big break between the first and second time. But sometimes you can get them like twice in 3 weeks, which is always weird. But so it will kind of feel like a new game and not just playing the same game again. But it's still interesting.
It's interesting, and I wonder how that impacts your preparation because you've seen them once, but it was a few weeks ago, and the Colts looked very different then than they do now. So do you have to completely start over with a brand new game plan and brand new everything the second time?
I wouldn't say brand new. I think they still do what they do structurally in their defense, and they do it well. But they don't, they haven't changed too much per se. But they had guys out last time. They have guys back now, and a lot of different personnel out there too, which is a huge challenge for us. So it is much different, even though you do have some of the same structures overall.
But it's got to be a lot more entertaining to see a team that looks a little bit different than, to your point, seeing a team twice in 3 weeks was pretty much like a rerun.
Yeah, it's like they're not so tuned into your tendencies and what you do, and it's not kind of just like bang. It's like kind of like training camp at the end of training camp where you just go against the same guys. But no, it is more like a new game.
Heading to Indianapolis, it's not that far from Chicago. Is there going to be a Skoronski contingent?
I think so, yeah. I think it's only about a 3-hour drive or so. So I'm sure people will be making the trip down. They're usually, last year that game had a few people, a good crowd there. So I'm sure it'll be the same way this year.
Do you like that? Do you like that you have the ability to play in front of your friends and family?
Yeah, it's fun. I think it's always fun to play for the people you love and have them see you. And it's nice to have destinations that are close that people can travel to. Even Nashville's not too far, so it's always fun to have people there supporting you. I mean, you never have too many people there rooting for you and cheering for the Titans. So
now, Indianapolis is not only the home of the Colts, but it's also the home of the NFL Scouting Combine. And I think that it's an interesting thing to talk about because a lot of guys in the NFL, their journey to this league includes the NFL Scouting Combine. You have done it, you're about, what, a year and a half-ish removed from it now, so recently enough that you remember doing it. But you also have some NFL experience now, so I wanted to ask you how you feel going through the experience of the National Football League Scouting Combine in Indianapolis impacts your season. Do you feel like that is an accurate representation athletically of things that you are required to do as a player in the National Football League?
No. No, especially not at our position at O-line. Not really. I mean, there's some of the drills, I guess, are kind of maybe in terms of like the position drills, none of the 40 and stuff like that. It's all for show, in my opinion. But no, it's not really much of a representation. I think the real purpose of the combine is the medical, the interviews. A lot of the stuff that you don't see on TV is really what teams get out of the combine.
What's interesting is that since you've been here, nobody has asked you to sprint as fast as you can 40 yards or jump as high as you possibly can, I would presume.
No, I don't think I've done a 40-yard sprint since then, at that speed for sure, or any broad jumps like that since then. Or a 225 bench press for that many reps either since then. So
we were just going to ask him to do the 225 bench press next week here on the show.
Well, now you have an opportunity.
That's exactly right. I tell you, Peter Skoronski, he needs to calm down. He's a wild man, isn't he?
Too much energy.
Too much energy. All right, he was really excited to play for your dad, and he has clearly gotten better in year 2. Brian Callahan, where have you seen the most improvement in Peter Skoronski since you got here?
I think his pass protection has been really, and especially in the last, let's say even 2 months, like his performance in pass pro has been fantastic. his technique is better, his anchor is better. Everything about how he's protecting is so much better. Him and JC do a good job in a run game. They're physical. They can move people. I think Pete's probably playing as good as he's probably our best lineman right now in terms of performance. He's really been consistent. I think that's the key for offensive linemen is how consistent are you? And he has been consistent for weeks now. He has been the same player. And again, he's getting better every week, but his performance has maintained a certain standard that he seems to meet every week, which is great to see.
He's become that guy that everybody thought he would be coming out of Northwestern.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Thanks, Amie Wells.